So the purpose of this video is twofold. I want to get my last measurements so I can get the proper calibrations for my new HoldPeak meter that's down there. I've already done, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've done 7 different data points from the end of a hose. So made my little cone here, and I've done those calibrations, and I'm pretty happy with those. But I have not hooked up this particular anemometer here to my wooden airflow box yet. So I need to do that. And in addition to that, I saw that Miko from Vacuum Tests had retested his Kirby G6 from 2000. Now, I just recently refurbished mine, which included things like new front and rear bearing, clean the fan and the seals, not only clean the commutator, but also reseat it using a seating stone. And I think I'm getting some pretty incredible numbers here. I've done some pre-tests, and they're a lot higher than what this machine tested years ago when I put this thing on my old cardboard airflow box. And right now, under load, when I turn the machine on, I will be sitting at 121 volts. So I have 2 machines to test here. This G6, which does not have a sealed fan case. If you look back in the refurbishment video, I did not put any sealant on this. At some point in time I will, but I haven't yet. And this Heritage 2 Legend here, this is the Ohio one for my fans that follow my channel. And this one does have fan case sealant. So I am using a red Kirby bag here, one of their HEPA bags for testing. Obviously not this one. I'm just leaving this here to let everybody know what type of bag I'm using. I have a brand new one that I put in here, and we're going to start out with the measurement that most everybody wants to see: brush roll spinning and bag installed. So let's see what this does. And because I am in my basement, temperatures are a little colder down here. It might be 65 or so degrees Fahrenheit. So the whole motor and everything like that is kind of on the cold side. So you might actually hear the motor spin up just a little bit as the grease warms in. So let's give this a whirl and see what we can get. I bet you we're going to get some pretty good numbers. Oh, I do have the 50-foot cord on here too. So that may mean like a loss of like 1 CFM because it has many extra feet than the regular shorter cord. Alright, I think that's a good enough run, considering I've run it for a few minutes previously to warm it up just a little bit. And yeah, we have a nice little CFM boost here. Really something. Yeah, you're not reading that wrong. 135.1 CFM from a 2001 completely refurbished Kirby G6. So of course, I have the white amodal fan in there. I have the red HEPA bag, and everything else I did in the refurbishment video. You can go and take a look at that. It should be in my playlist there somewhere. And you can see all the little tips and tricks that I did and all the little special grease I used, you name it. And that's, I think, the highest CFM I've ever seen from a G6. So, it seems to be worthwhile, I must say, to go and just tear your machines completely down, even take the motor apart, clean and scrub everything, re-lubricate everything, replace any parts that need to be replaced, put it all back together, and enjoy some increased performance. Well, it's really something. Okay, so now I need to do the rest of my tests for this, because normally I do 4 airflow tests. Incidentally, I'm at 121.2 volts. Right, you always get a tiny bit of CFM boost when you reduce a little bit of load or drag. So brush roll not spinning, 137.2. Yep, a little bit more. Okay, now I need to take the bag out and repeat those tests. Right now you can see this is the exact bag that was in the machine. Super duper nice, clean and fresh. And let's start out with the brush roll spinning. See what we get. Okay, 5315 is the number. Brush roll spinning bag out, and we're at almost 139, so 138.71 CFM. Really something. So let's turn the brush roll off. And repeat the test. And this should be the highest number. Least drag possible. Get my calculator all set up, and away we go. You can see the bag flopping around a little bit. That's kind of funny. That should be enough. And we use 5413. We get a completely unloaded G6 cranking out 141.3 CFM. So, wow. Oh, you know, I also need to mention that that isn't the original bag either. That is original, well, it's an upgraded Kirby bag. It's a factory OEM Kirby bag, but it's the upgraded microfiber bag, like what you see in the Centria 1, Centria 2. It's not the original real heavy, thick bag that's in there either, but it is the original Emptor. Okay, so those 4 tests are done. Now I need to go and put that on there, that HoldPeak, and see if we can't get everything to kind of make sense. Now I'm set up to use the HoldPeak HP-846A, and I had to go and change the camera angle a little bit because I get glare at a different angle than when I use this guy right here. I also am experimenting with a different conversion factor. Instead of the previous 0.027, I've now changed it to 0.029, as you can see right there, because this vane is larger than my detection hole. So when I designed this thing, I designed it for something about this size, and this is larger. So the airflow is just a little bit different. So I need to be able to shift the readings up or down in order to maintain accuracy. So let's start off with brush roll on and bag in. Our target is it's supposed to be 135.1 CFM. See how close we get. Okay, the machine sounds pretty warm. So if I take 134.7 and I divide that by 135.1, that's the fraction that I get right there. That says 0.997 blah blah blah. Now what that actually means is an error rate, if I just subtract 1 from it, of about 0.3%. So I can multiply that by 100 to just kind of move the decimal place around. So here I'm reading about 0.3% low. That's probably about as good as I can get. I mean, I never would really guarantee with inexpensive items like this that I'm going to, get something that's dead on, that's absolutely perfect. So I'm less than 0.5% off. So let's go ahead and finish the rest of the tests and see if I can maintain that level of error. So let's see, brush roll on, how about we do brush roll off plus the bag, and we're looking to hit 137.2. So flip the brush roll off. Let's see what it does. Bag's still in. Coming up. target was 137.2. We didn't quite make it. 136.1. Divide by 137.2. And you can see that's what my fraction is. And if you fiddle with that a little bit, you get an error rate that is about 0.8%. So we're getting close to a 1% error. We're just a little bit low, but we're still under a 1% error. All right, now let's try taking the bag out. All right, I've taken the bag out. Let's start with brush roll on. And our target, let me see here, brush roll on, no bag, 138.7. So let's see how close we get. Took a minute for the machine to get warm again. So our target was 138.7 and we did 139. So if I take 139, then I'll divide it by 138.7, we get a difference of that value right there. And if I, let's see here, let me make it a little easier to read. So this time, instead of a negative error, we now have a positive error, and that's 0.22 rounded, 0.2. That's actually a good thing. If you have some errors that are a little high and some errors that are a little bit low, it all kind of means that you're generally balancing out. Okay, so I'm happy about that. I was getting close to a 1% error, and I really don't like an error rate that high. So we're down to 0.2. Let me turn the brush roll off and look for our highest reading, which would be 141.3. Brush roll off. Away we go. Well, I hope you all love listening to the sound of a G6 with new bearings, because that's what this video is a lot of. All right, wonderful. So we are just a little bit above 100%. So I'll take 141.6, divide it by our target of 141.3, and I get the same 0.2%. Here, let me subtract the 1 off and then multiply it times 100. Makes it easier to read. So we are positive 0.2. So we have some errors that we saw that were a little under 1%, some that were a little above 1%. That's good. That's actually very good. It means the errors essentially are balancing out. They're not stuck all on one side, either, you know, say everything positive errors, everything negative errors. That means that I've picked a good calibration, which is 0.029. So I think I'm ready to use this now. Want to take a few more measurements just to confirm. You know, the more stuff I confirm, the more I tweak, the more accurate I can get numbers for you all to actually, you know, see. So an accuracy on VacLab site, that's me. That's what I want, and that's what I'm all about. Now I have my Heritage 2 Legend on the airflow box, and just as my G6 was fully refurbished, so was this one. So new bearings, polished commutator, reseated carbon brushes. I mean, everything that I can possibly do to this thing was done. And also fixed the light flicker problem. So this thing is as tweaked as it's going to get. We have the same red Kirby bag in there. And let's see what we have. Brush roll spinning, bag in. And it's going to be higher than you think. I'm at 121.4 volts. Still qualifies as 121. Well, that's a nice improvement. I have to go back in my database, but I think we gained a few more CFM from the last time I tested this machine, which it wasn't completely refurbished, obviously. So now, let's turn the brush roll off. See what we gain. Bag is still in, obviously. Nice bump when we turn the load of the brush roll off. So now let me take the bag out. And we will repeat the same tests. Well, there's the bag. All right. Reset the max min. There we go. Okay, brush roll spinning, no bag. Almost 133. Now this should give us the highest reading. No drag on the motor from a belt and no bag. little more than 134 CFM. So what a nice improvement. I mentioned this before. If you take the time to completely go through these machines, make sure the bearings are good, the grease is good, the seals are good, the fan is the latest fan you can put in, everything's set up just right. I don't know, torquing down your lug nuts to the right foot-pounds, that kind of thing. And I really believe that cleaning the commutator and then properly mating the carbon brushes to the commutator to reduce the sparking that you get to a minimum really helps. And I think that's where I'm getting a little bit of CFM boost over when I tested these machines a number of years ago. So, geez, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. Especially look out for this guy right here, this HoldPeak, because now it's really nice just to be able to look at the CFM numbers directly and not bother with a calculator.